Now, a constitutional lawyer and, of course, policy advocate with a lot of experience in legislative reform and civic education. And, of course, will be joining us online all the way from Lagos. He'll be pretty soon joining us very soon. And with us here in the studio is Alabo Nengi James, and the public affairs analyst and the first National Vice President, Ijo National Congress, INC, known for his firm stance on grassroots, including inclusion in national decision making, and who was present at the
review.
The review. Good morning, sir. It's a pleasure to always have you here in the studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me again.
So we'll open the phone lines later on the show for you, the listeners, to be part of the conversation. And of course, you already know this is Let's Talk Nigeria. Okay, so we will be joined by Barrister Ogienor all the way from Lagos, but let's start with Alabo Nengi James here in the studio with us. And we want to ask the question, what exactly is being amended in this current round of constitutional review? Give us a little background to that, and later on in the course of the show, we will look at what was discussed here in Bayelsa State, where you were present.
You are even more aware than me, because the Senate Committee and the House of Representatives publicized the area that the civil populace need to intervene, and it was highly publicized. So I'm not the owner or to inform you more, because you're already in the public space and doing the needful.
You are a guest today, so we just want you to highlight.
To quote what I didn't publicize. But the document states several areas. More questioning and more interesting area was the bill on state creation.
Yeah.
And the area of reserve seat for women, and some top areas where an independent body should take care of the local government election, and the separation of the justice system, where the Attorney General and who is being appointed as a political head should be head of that. Then you know what is going on. So very many bills were submitted by different executive bill and other members of the Senate, and these bills are now tendered before the public for review, for the interest of Nigeria. However, I want to say that public hearing is very important, because the voice of the people need to be heard, and there should be fair hearing to everyone. By the grace of God, from 1999 to today, I'm passionate about humanity affairs and the public interest matters. So I have been involved. The only one that I did not submit memo that I involved in protest was third tenorism in Rivers State, and we were actually arrested. I was part of those that were arrested on the directive of the governor of the then governor, and we were taken to state CID, Prime Rose, Tamnotobi, and others. And because I served that Papri and Iki Clark as SUPEC youth leader, then I served them for 15 years. I stand with them forever, and they are gone, but I'm still alive. So with their experience and the wealth of tutoring and mentoring, I'm still standing. However, in that process, Odele immediately, Adapapri immediately called Odele to make sure I'm released. So they came back and released only me from there. Others were given the leeway from the court. That is how it happened. So most of these things, people use it as a jamboree. But for we, it's not jamboree. Anywhere there is a talking drum, you need to listen to the talking drum and answer him well in the poetry language. So in every review, no matter what it is, we all know, anybody who is interested to know must know that this document is a military fiat document. It was just handed over to the civilian who were interested then as a gang corps I even mentioned the hotel. Is it one of these hotels? Because I was partially in Abuja then. So they just throw it to them, and Absalami wants to, he's having an intention to leave, to enjoy his life. So that is how it started, and we started questioning that a document that just put together and packaged from nowhere with the consultancy of Professor Wambuzi and Rotimi Williams and their friends, and a packaging that was done and thrown into the public for no-go area to be discussed, not to be discussed, I mean, like Land Use Act, fundamental issues, and so many areas. There was no referendum for people to coordinate. If there is a referendum, this issue should have been a thing of the past. People will come together. The Southwest will come, we need regionalism. And the South will say, okay, this is what we want. So it should have been a very blank, open-ended issue. But when you gag the people and place the people in a permanent position of begging, appealing always to see that you are even helping us, you are just a dash. So when it comes to such, and taking over all resource model and resource management and dictating the pace of everywhere, even at your backyard belongs to the federal government, it becomes a questionable. This is a natural issue. And I ask the question, where is the right for freedom, right for environment in the fundamental issues? There must be right to environment. If you are saying that from Sokoto to Bayelsa, you own the land, you own the river, but you didn't create the river. It's God that did everything. And it's in the Bible. After creating everything, including man, man was so wicked that God said he must die. Genesis chapter 6 verse 6. So these are part of the things that is bringing the questioning that document is very unacceptable. It was a package from military to civilian rule. And the civilians today are now asking questions. And we cannot just stay aloof. We must participate. We must question the authority who are doing it. So if you are in your house and they are doing a review, they will continue to do what they want, because what favors them gladdens their heart. So the politicians, I call them political gambling and scavengers. You know, they are only looking for where there is loophole and manage the resources of Nigeria. What favors them? Look at it. Do you think there is rule of law being applied in Nigeria? A Supreme Court will order a judgment, and people are happy that that judgment favors them. So these are part of the things that is luring some of us to participate in constitutional review. And if you don't participate, the court give you what you ask for.
Yeah.
And if you are a reasonable person and you are a true defender of your people, no matter how careless he is, be in attendance to make a voice for your people. Because no matter how stupid that document is, we need to voice it. I have been, even last year, I represented TMG, Transition Monitoring Group. I was the South-South leader. So I continue to voice and help defend my people and help my people, no matter the review. My submission is there too. No matter the review we do, Nigeria needs restructuring. At my conclusion, if you want me to read it to verbatim, it's there. Assess it. Nigeria needs restructuring. And not only restructuring, we need a new brand document that will include referendum. That word more have to be there in order to help Nigerian people to discuss their affair. If the Igbo said they want to leave and they have the consensus, they have the general attendance that they want to leave, allow them leave. If Ijaw people feel, look, we are tired of this Nigerian state, we don't want to carry arms, but we form a referendum and discuss our affairs, and we take the day. That is all. That is what we wanted. People are splitting. Look at small countries splitting without bloodshed. Why are we big God? Is it the oil? The only crude oil and gas that they claim to be in the South and Niger Delta? But they have so much mineral resources they have not accessed, because the extractive industry is more even in the northern area. They have it. They were just deceiving our people. So if they have it as they claim, why worry of the splits or any model that will give us opportunity to manage our resources, control our resources, and use it for our own betterment and livelihood?
All right, Alabo.
So we need to be there.
Yes, you have a lot to unpack here on the show. So many things to talk about. We're still expecting our guest all the way from Lagos to join us. I mean, Barrister Justice Ogienor. But before he joins us, we want to talk about the Bayelsa, the conversation. You were there at the
live and direct.
Yes.
I will not miss, except I'm somewhere else.
Yeah. So let's talk about Bayelsa. What Bayelsa is, asking to be included in the constitution and the demands of Bayelsans.
Yeah, actually, it's like Oliver Twist. Do you know that the Bayelsa people are so worried that each time we ask for opportunity, it has not been properly granted to us or given to us. Anything that we are getting in the Jolland, in Niger Delta, and in Bayelsa is always something that we was dragged for before it's given to us. So based on that, no matter how it is, the Bayelsa government presented their case through the Attorney General, and some other groups, including my groups, also presented, because it's Edo, Delta, and Bayelsa that is in Center A. And we see all the presentations. They were beautiful, they were not too good. It may favor you, it may not favor you, but all geared towards one thing, that people's voice must be heard. There must be fair hearing and fair statements. Therefore, the Bayelsa interest today, do we really need a state? Or do part of Bayelsas want to join other states? That all of us have not sat down to discuss it. But the general belief of the Bayelsa government is that we need more local government. If possible, 50. But the calculation is about 40 something. 33 plus the 8, it will be, you have the answer yourself. But for me, that is not even enough if we want to get it right, because we produce the oil, we have the oil, we have not been managing it well, we have not been using the oil for those that are having the pain and the environmental stake and challenges and the great effect of the ocean surge and oceanification in Nigerian states. So when we are talking about what we request, is that so many things need to be discussed, but the fundamental issue is that Bayelsa is not given a fair share in all things that is possible for man, including the local. How can a state is having 44 local government, and these 44 local government are giving allocation? So if they are giving allocation, only that 44 local government allocation is more than Bayelsa allocation, if not the derivation. You understand? It's more than Bayelsa allocation. So why not we that is producing the oil have more local government to help ourselves if local government is a tier of government? So one other issue that was highly discussed was the issue of the judiciary system, where people are asking that the judiciary should be properly taken care of according to independent way of doing what is right and justice and equity. So we also, as a group, I have my own template. The INC also have their template. The Edo have templates. But on the INC angle, the INC president explicitly mentioned what is good for the Ijaw people. But I represented the Rural Chiefs, Association of Rural Chiefs for Peace and Development. And in our own presentation, I said, look, I have been in this thing. Last time I put forward independent candidate, other issues or electoral reform. This year too, on my organization, one of my national organization, National Civil Society Council of Nigeria, they brought the document, I submitted it. It was an electoral reform we are hitting. But if we want to get it right, we must start from how we vote our people. Elections are done. It is if Nigeria get it right, the entire Africa will definitely get it right. Because
Mandela.
They came with who do we want to vote? Like young, not too young to run.
Yes.
Well, it was a good concept. And now the young ones are now enjoying it. But the philosophy I have is that you said by 20-something years you start election. But there is no departure. These are some of the sensitive things I can relate with you with Paul Biya. You want to stay there to hold forever. No, we have to give room. So in our own submission, we submitted that Toribe State is no go. It's a state that has been for long. When they created Bayelsa State and the submission, I was there in the Intensive Center in Old River State. Toribe State was one of the states that was requested. And we also say I support and adopt all the presentation of this state creation. Toribe State, Obolo, is it Obolo State? Yeah, Obolo State, from that our brother's western angle. Then I also mentioned Oil River State and Atlantic City State. That is for state creation. We went further to mention the necessity of having women in Senate and in reps. And we also talk about what is the need having reps and Senate. We're in a country where we have a lot of debt factor. Money is not there. Can't we go to unicameral system? Or can we move back to the 1979 Constitution where, 1979, where part-time model was taken? That was my past submission too. And these things have to be properly managed. If we want to manage our resources and there should be accountability, most of these things will go, but we'll just sit in, agree that we should move to part-time model, which would have been fair, and there will be enough money for other developmental activities. We went further to say, okay, create opportunity for women. Because if you don't reserve seat for women, identifying them in the Constitution, that women have to get, we need to have about 50 women in Senate, so that they contribute the best, because they are the people that is managing the affairs of the home and everything of woman life. So we need to carry the women not only to come and clap hand for you, come and wear gele for you, have the colorful dressing, and you praise them. At the end, they are nowhere. You begin to hand pick or be friendly women will be choosing. No. Give them opportunity. There are women that can be better than us. So we move further again to say that there should be constitutional role. This area is very important, sir. Constitutional role for traditional rulers. Whether we like it or not, we have mentioned it earlier before. Traditional rulers need to be part of the Constitution. Let me also inform you, 1979 Constitution, there was a role for constitutional traditional rulers. And there was peace everywhere, because the traditional ruler are the custodian of the traditional authority native system, where they have legislature, they have executive, and they have the judiciary in their own way. Before we were born, my father was one of the juries in Sekapo, a group called Sekapo. Any issue in that community will be reported, and their judgment cannot be turned over by the Nigerian judiciary. Best of them all. They don't even write, but their native intelligence is equivalent to a judge of the highest authority. These are people who have been, and they have the other enforcement unit. If you don't do what is right in the community puts you at bay and block you. kept in the system that you are not part of the community. Checks and balance are always there. The administrative functioning, the institution, the traditional institutions need to be properly given opportunity. So what it means is that we need to be guided and protected by traditional authority. So if the traditional rulers institution is given the opportunity, a young boy who is their subject is becoming chairman of a local government, and he will go to the home with 10 policemen, and his king that even giving that is even lord over him is not protected by anybody. And if he go against any of his decision, you will see young boys coming to insult or abuse or embarrass the king. Is that okay? And let us adopt the Anambra model, where the security system is even the grassroots community policing is headed by the traditional ruler, because they know everybody in the community. Anybody, whether you are president, and Obasanjo has left for his Ota farm. Ota is being protected by a lot of vigilante, including the Western Flank soldiers, local soldiers. So what we do think? Community policing is very, very important. You don't undermine community policing. If there is third tier of government, the third tier, there must be a security system. If there is state police, the state police will take care of the state police. But most of these activities, everybody will go back to his community. So if you are in the state capital and you have a house in the day, not everybody have the opportunity to go and stay in your community, because the community have a local system of practice and a native way of handling their matter.
Okay.
So concurrently, we went further to say Nigerian security and civil defense is a grassroots organization.
Okay.
All other bodies have enjoyed this process. Also put them structure.
Okay.
Acceptable by people.
Okay.
The government, as I'm talking, is paying the head of these RODAs. So it's a way of transforming the RODAs to the
full-fledged local government.
Thank you. I've answered your question. So very easy. It was not done today.
Okay.
I was in those meetings.
Okay.
By the grace of God, when Alamesia was very, very transparent and calling people for meeting and deciding within the meeting and outside the meeting. I was in the Joint Youth Council and was a front leader that most of the meetings I'm called to suggest opinion, even in his own office. I'm severally invited by Fubara, his chief details. So I know what is right and what is not right. So these local governments are local government acceptable. The RODA, we are acceptable to the people, agreed on the model and practice, and people have been enjoying the benefit of creation of those RODA. As I'm talking now, they are receiving salary, and there is members, there is chairman. Yeah.
Okay, great. For those who do not know, this is very, very clear.
Yeah, it's
All
not
right.
even today.
Okay, great.
But Governor Doediri is really appreciating the effort.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's open the phone lines. A lot of people might have questions for you, questions that we don't have
No
here.
problem. I'm
yes.
As far as his public interest matter.
Yes, of course.
Don't go beyond. I'm not a political and those grassroots
I understand.
politicians to answer political questions.
So great. You're the listener. Time for you to engage our guests here. We're still struggling to connect with our guests from Lagos. But then we'll see. We'll have Alabo Nengi James here with us, and you've heard what he said. If you have anything to contribute or question to ask and anything at all, it's time for you to do that. The numbers are 0707 747 1522, 0912 000 1975, and you can text us on 0805 32 77767. Remember, we're talking about the ongoing constitution review process, and we're asking the question, to what end? Make sure you keep your questions and your contributions very brief, because we'll have a lot of people on the line to contribute to the conversation. Let's get the first caller. Good morning. Oh, we lost that now. Let's take another one. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. My name is Comrade Emmanuel. I'm from Onopa.
All right, comrade, thanks for joining us. Go ahead.
Yes, I wish that this ongoing constitutional review or amendment, does not end up the way others ended. I'm very happy that this is going on, especially as it concerns Barrister State. This local government, this is something that have always bothered me for. Not because we were giving 8 local government councils, but because that's not the right thing that was done. This is not possible, because this additional 25 local government that the Barrister State government have demanded. Very beautiful. As a Barrister person, you can just sit down now and see how the thing is being done. The RUDA is being turned into full-fledged local government. I mean, the process is already there. Just I wonder whether the federal government will not agree to it, or the Senate or the National Assembly will not, why they will not agree to something like that. Because the demands that were made, by the state government are very simple demands. 8 local government, after all, it is even unconstitutional for a state to get just 8 local government. This is the best thing. And the government, what the state one of the big statements they made that, appeals to me most was that we as a government, we are able and willing to even finance this local government, just make the approval for us and it will fly. So let's not, in fact, local government people, even the king there, is even started to create the Barrister government. I wish that this will try and let it come to pass. Info to make this very, very happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Alamo, before you respond, we have our guest, Barrister Justice Ogienor, all the way from Lagos. Barrister Justice Ogienor, are you there with us now? Hello? Hello? Okay, so we've been having a challenge with the network, and I guess we've not been able to resolve that. Alamo, you wanted to respond to?
Yeah, I want to, that impression, most people talk about 10 local government and it's not constitutional. It's a wrong impression. You should read the constitution. It was in 1979 constitution that that word was enshrined, that a state must have 10 local government.
Okay.
But in 1999 constitution, nothing like that. So I need to inform the rest who are listening, go back and research very well. It's just like the issue where I intervene on matters of certificates. They didn't say you will pass two subjects or secondary school. They just say certificate. So it can be even nursery school certificate. It can be any primary school certificate. You see how naughty and what is going on in Nigeria. And we are arguing as educated people. He didn't even have a certificate. Go back, check the constitution. So people should.
So it was vague.
Very vague.
Very vague. Okay.
Very vague. So many people are still arguing, you must have secondary school certificate. No, they say school certificate. If you like, you have a job certificate.
Or first school certificate.
They would have written that secondary specific.
Okay.
Then it now work, but they are clever people. Those people are very clever.
Let's take this call. Let's take this call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Golden F, my guest.
Yes, it is. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Chief Nengi James.
I prefer to be addressed as Alabo, please.
Alabo, I'm very sorry, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sincerely, I want to appreciate you. Appreciate this state governor, our own able Senator Doediri, and every person that is making effort in this manner. I think this is the biggest test for this government again and to the Nigerian states. If these local governments will be awarded, do I say awarded, or will be given to a Barrister? I like what you said about Nigeria is not too fair to Barrister, giving us 8 local government. I pray this be the last time that a Barrister will get the needed local government. let us get what we need to get as people who are feeding this Nigeria for this period. The only thing I think, what is the president's name this time, Mr. Tinubu can do to Bayelsa is this one. I don't think any campaign promise can be better than this. I am not saying it should be the process to campaign to us, but this one would be the best thing Bayelsans will want to hear. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Another call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Paul and Steve.
Good morning.
And, our leader, Alabo, good morning.
Good morning.
My problem, you calling from Tunde, my problem is not this state.
Hey, still having a challenge with that. Look, I have a question for you, but let's hear from this caller. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Comrade Akinto. I greet my Alabo. Good morning, sir.
God bless you. May you live long.
Amen, and you too. You see, when our people start talking some certain things, if according to Alabo, if they're not Bayelsa created today, those who have become PAMSECs, commissioners, and senators, reps members, assembly members, can they have that opportunity? So when people myopically think of, say, hey, don't create, we don't need state creation, we don't need, say, for what? If you like, it just should demand even 10 states, they should give it to us. We deserve it. And let us begin to grow with the wrong leadership. One day we'll get it right. So we should not be coming and discouraging the young generation not to think of how we should fight for a state creation. Then for the local government, I'm happy that we are pushing forward for Barrister to have more local government. And by the grace of God, as everybody like Alabo and the governor and every well-wishers of Bayelsa and the Niger Delta region is working hard to get that. By the grace, we'll get it. My respected Alabo, there's something I want to say. From the beginning when this creation of Torebe State started, the agitation started, I believe, and I want to be corrected, sir, that the capital of that state is supposed to be at Bomondi. But recently I'm seeing Brutu. I don't know where the changes is coming from. So my leader, I really needed a clarification from you if you have a better clarification. Thank you and God bless you, sir.
The elites will work together.
Okay.
If you have been following the programs and forum, you will not be a novice to
I think we'll respond to
we'll
respond to his question and take more calls after Barrister Justice Ogienor, who is now on the line.
God bless.
Good morning, Barrister. Good morning.
To you and good morning to the fellow guests in the studio, and good morning to all our listeners all across the world. I'm sorry for the network issues. I don't have power to control infrastructure in this country. Maybe I would have
Okay, so we're talking about the constitutional review process that's going on, and we are asking the question to what end. Many Nigerians, are complaining that these amendment exercises are mere political rituals. Do you share this sentiment with them?
Okay, for me, to a large extent, I actually don't think they are political rituals, especially as per amendment. But if we are talking about maybe enacting a new constitution, of course, a lot of people have ideological basis for why they support such a move. I do not support such a move at all, because I know that anything that can be achieved through bringing in a new constitution can actually be achieved via a constitutional amendment, and of course it's still arguable, and I'm fit and ready for anybody that wants to take me up on that. But as for the constitutional amendments, I feel that it is the right thing to do. One of the reasons why we have a permanently paid legislature, as I always say, is because there will always be dynamic problems in society that the law needs to catch up with. And there are times when the dynamism of the challenges in society are so gargantuan that it will require the elder brother, in a manner of speaking, the amendment of the Fons et Origio, as we say, the ground norm, the constitution. So, and I feel that it is a welcome development at all stages, at all levels, where we feel that there should be an amendment and exercise of the powers of maybe the legislature and the people, pursuant to Section 9 of our Constitution. I think that such powers should be exercised. I heard people talking about local government. I'm in full support of local government, further local government creation, because the local government, as far as I'm concerned, is the most essential arm of government, because it is the government that touches the people every single day. The state government is too far. The federal government is even farther. They don't know what the people are going through as much as the local government would. So I would be in full support of a government that is close to the people and is solving everyday unique problems of the people as much as possible. But as for state creation, of course, I've heard people in the studio and some of your guests talking about they're supporting state creation. Thank God for the rights as contained in Section 39 of our Constitution that talks about freedom of expression and freedom to hold certain opinion, what Americans call the First Amendment rights. Mm-hmm. I will be a bit on the other side of that argument. I've always been on the other side of that argument because I know that state governors and state governments will further splinter and it will be further squandering of the meager resources of Nigeria, because they have to put structures in place and things like that, and I don't see them really particularly solving unique problems of the Nigerian people more than the local government will solve. We're already complaining about too much government cost and government overheads. If I have to support, the only time I've supported the state creation is the creation of Anioma State. I'm not from the Southeast, but I feel that the Southeast deserve one more state in order to create a balance, or a further balance in governance in this country, especially because states are entitled to 3 senators. And in America too, that's one of the reasons why they are either for state creation or either against state creation, because governance at the legislative level, which is the first level of government, even though that's not the case in Nigeria, everybody kowtows to the executive powers of the president pursuant to Section 130 of our Constitution. But the legislature, so they should have more representation in the legislature so that they'll be able to ask for some more from the Nigerian till. Because as far as I'm concerned, if any region of Nigeria is marginalized the most, it is the Southeast.
Okay, Justice, I just wanted to ask, because people have been clamoring that in the midst of everything we want to do, if we must cause a change in Nigeria, it must boil down to electoral reforms. Has it been well captured in this amendment and the plans that we have?
No, it has not been well captured. Yeah. It has not, and I'm saying that out of the blocks, and I'm saying that without any sense of conservatism. I think a significant lot needs to be done with respect to, in particular, electoral issues. Because if we have what we had if we had the law and the constitutional provisions as it stood pre the 2023 election, in 2027. I am certain it is slam dunk that 100% the elections of 2027 will be worse than the elections of 2023, because there was no incumbent in 2023 and it was still that bad. The election in 2027 is going to be worse than terrible, and a lot of Nigerians are going to exercise the to your tent, O Israel attitude as contained in the Bible. That's what they are going to exercise when it comes to voter apathy. In the next election. They will not even show up. No. I don't want to convenience. In fact, let me say it out of the block again. I will not show up because there will be no point. We have a situation where the present government in power, we are practically almost degenerating into a unitary state. And we now have a government in power that has practically talked about snatching ballot box, running with ballot box because of how strongly they really want to retain power. Why should I bother myself if the laws are still in the same place? Sometimes a lot of people just dunk on the judiciary and feel that, oh, the judiciary is the problem. But pursuant to Section 6 of our Constitution, the judiciary's job is to interpret the provisions of the Constitution and interpret the provisions of the law. They cannot decide based on sympathy. I commend it to the case of Sarki and Sarki. No judge should decide on sympathy. A judge is supposed to decide on the provisions of the law, no matter how unfair the provisions of the law are. The only time a judge can walk away from the provisions of the law is when it conflicts with the provisions of the Constitution. And I commend you to the provisions of Section 1, subsection 1 of our Constitution and Section 1, subsection 3 of our Constitution. Otherwise, because the job of lawmaking is not given to the judiciary. So when we have an Evidence Act that is regulating electoral litigation that says that there's a rule against hearsay and there's a presumption against presumption for regularization, meaning that any rubbish thing that INEC presents, there's a presumption in law that it is regular, that it is okay. And the rule against hearsay says that it is only a person at a polling unit that saw that the vote was stolen or there was some shenanigan. That's the only person that can testify. So just imagine we have more than 100,000 polling units. How do you examine, cross-examine, and re-examine every single witness for every single polling unit in court? And a lot of people will now say, oh, it's the judiciary. That's an impossible task to be able to do. The Constitution also gives 180 days for you to be able to examine, cross-examine, re-examine a particular witness, to re-examine 180-something thousand witnesses if we are having complaints from 170-something thousand polling units. So there's an impossibility that is the law of our land. So if we want anything to change in the next election, the Electoral Act has to be amended to the hilt, including electronic transmission of results. That must be taken as a compulsory. So, and the relevant provisions, the rule against hearsay, the presumption for regularization in the Evidence Act must be uniquely doctored, must be uniquely amended to take care of the unique situation.
Thank you, because of you've given us the perspective of the law and the thing that we need to do and we need to know concerning it. So, but from all of us here in Bayelsa, I want to say thank you, Barrister Justice Ogienor, for shedding proper light in the things that we are supposed to understand. And we are going to be having you at different times to really get to unpack these things because we need it for the future. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much. That was Barrister Justice Ogienor joining us all the way from Lagos. We want to round off Alabo Nengi James, and please, in your final thoughts, what is the way forward? What should we be expecting?
The way forward is that I want to adopt lastly that restructuring must go on, and there should be a new constitution. The new constitution is being demanded because we took over, we are handover with military. But the new constitution will not do everything because of the political actors. If the political actors and the leaders are not obeying constitution and rule of law, it can, but new may not be perfect, but the new we needed because there are going to be referendum and some other issues that will amend that it is not from military. The accusation is that this one is handed over but new constitution does not matter. We will, if we act the way we are acting, it will also not help us. But I want to align myself with the barrister, especially on electoral reform. And thank God I also presented electoral reform continually because that is where the problem will. But I want to add that we should also try and add areas of arbitration and mediation in the electoral reform so that not every cases, there are some cases that we can resolve out of court. let us not allow the legal luminaries to make sure they go home fat. There are issues that we can solve as brothers. So mediation and arbitration should all be incorporated in the new electoral reform. But to a large extent, we are also enjoying some of the review. They said electricity is now concurrent, and our governor is now putting a gas turbine, a new gas turbine. If that law didn't review, we wouldn't have gained it. The young boys are now contesting. It is as a result of review. So some of the review also favored. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Alabo.
Thank you, Alabo Nengi James ON, a public affairs analyst and the first national vice president, Ogienor National Congress, INC. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We appreciate you because you always, come at just the shortest invitation.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That is part of the state creation.
Okay.
Now, when we are in IYC, I was in Information Bureau. When I write stories from the bush and submit it in the government media, they will not take it. I will rush to Port Harcourt because there was only one government media. They will sanction you not to take. Today we have about 5 media, 6 media, radio stations, TV stations. It's part of the beauty. I'm coming here to talk. If it is in government area, they may even say, don't allow to talk. In fact, they were buying me from some radio station because I was so active there. And I'm a member of the Information Bureau, the secret chambers, headed by Zikuswaka.
All right,
and that helps us.
Thank you.
So today is part of state creation. This place was in swamp.
Thank you.
Today we are here.
Thank you.
God
Thank you, Alaba. Thank you, Alaba. We appreciate you. I am Moya Stevie.
And I am Paul Obologbasa.
We told you that today's conversation was very interesting, and sure it was. Tomorrow, join us for another interesting edition of Let's Talk Nigeria. Have a lovely day, but make sure you stay tuned for the news update at 10.